Hey guys, what is up? It is me, Pagey here, once again with another video on The Flash Season 3. So this is going to be my review for episode 11 of The Flash Season 3, otherwise entitled Dead or Alive. But obviously before we get into this review, if you haven't watched the episode, there is going to be spoilers within this review, so you might want to go watch it, then come back to this video later on and get discussing in the comment section down below. So right at the end of the last episode, that being episode 10, we saw a woman breach into Earth 1 Terminator style. We then see her with a hologram of our new friend, H.R. Wells, and that is basically all the setup needed for this episode that we watched today. Now this was a big episode for a few characters, not just the obvious one. The obvious one obviously being Cisco, but it was also a big episode for Iris West. And we also had the introduction of Julian Albert into Team Flash, and he actually was more prominent in the episode than I thought he would be. Now that opening scene, I thought it was like a legitimate scene, and then I saw HR come in with that gun. I was like, okay, something's happening here. HR was narrating the whole scene, and of course it's some of HR's like imaginary madness, which I thought was a nice way to open the episode, and I had a bit of a giggle to myself. Now the group that Wally and Barry take down at the beginning of the episode is called the Electric Gang. Now that's a bit of an Easter egg in the comics. I think they're only in like 1 or 2 issues. The Electric Gang are like actually made up of electricity. It's weird. It would be weird if it was in the show like that. But it's just a nice little Easter egg to a gang like that, just to give like a group of people a name. We might see them come back later on, but it would be pretty unlikely if that was the case. I think it was just something to set up the storyline for Iris West within this episode. The recreation of the future scene with Legos, or they just call them toys, but it looked like Legos, was pretty funny. And this was basically like the first real time in the episode we saw Julian getting involved in, I guess, not the most motivating way, but it was in a very correct way, I guess you could say. Where basically he's saying that Barry just won't get to that speed he needs to save Savitar because his progress over time, it's gone up, but not at the rate that he needs to get to defeat Savitar in a short amount of time. So they're going to have to find some other way to do it. Now we meet Gypsy again in this episode as she vibes some Earth-19 currency from Jitters in order to locate HR, which obviously is going to lead her back to Star Labs. And as you may know if you've watched some of the trailers and also just some stuff leading up to this episode, Cisco immediately displays his attraction to her. But who can blame Cisco though? We obviously know he likes the dangerous and more villainous type, if you want to call them, but also Gypsy is a very attractive lady, so can't blame Cisco one bit. We do see Gypsy use an ability that Cisco should learn soon enough and actually might come into defeating Savitar, and that is actually disrupting the Speed Force, as we actually see her use on Wally. Now Vibe can do this in the comics, but if you remember back to last season, if you were a subscriber, towards the end of the season, that being season 2, I did bring up that this could be how Zoom may be stopped if Cisco's progress as a hero was fastened, but they obviously didn't do that. They saved it for this season. But I thought him learning this ability and how to disrupt the Speed Force might be how Zoom is stopped, or like at least a part of how he is stopped in the process. It was interesting hearing why H.R. Wells came to Earth 1, even though there had been like little hints at it since we initially met him this season. But thanks to Cisco offering up himself in the trial by combat in order to save HR, we didn't have to lose HR so soon. I like H.R. Wells. I think he's a funny character. I do like him as a character. Some people don't like him, which is fair enough. You don't have to like something, but personally I didn't want to lose him from the show this soon. It was funny when Iris was distracting Joe so Wally could get the leads for Iris and her little journalism thing. You know, making Joe think that she was talking about having kids, but it was just so Wally could have enough time to get those things. It just had me chuckling. Like Joe was freaking out, starting to sweat, looked like he was going to pass out. Yeah, hilarious. We had some parallels in this episode back to season 1 with Barry and Cisco. In this episode, Barry really wasn't showing much faith towards Cisco and that he would be able to defeat Gypsy and save HR. But back in season 1, Cisco was the complete opposite. He showed a lot of faith in Barry and believed in Barry. And you could sort of tell by Cisco's body language in this episode. He was like, dude, when you were starting off, I was all for you, but when I'm trying to do something, you're like, hey, I don't really trust you that much. But obviously after this episode, Barry now shows faith in Cisco, which is good. It was good that Iris had some story in this episode, because one of the big problems with Flash is that Iris is always there, but really doesn't do anything. They really should have done something with her in season 2 with her journalism, but instead they had her at the newspaper, but it was just so she could start a relationship with her boss and just cause some drama there, so that was unnecessary. So if they can do this in this back half of the season, with her journalism, then good on them, because it's something that they should have been doing from day one. Even though in season 1 they did it, but it was, starting a blog wasn't really that good. But they had her doing this investigative journalism with these like gun shipments and not showing any fear, because she knows that there's a set date where she's going to die, so she's just going to go all out so she can leave something behind. But having Wally with her throughout the episode did help out, as they reference in the episode. In Flashpoint, they were a brother and sister, like crime fighting duo, so they may as well try and bring it into this non-Flashpoint world. And Joe's obviously not happy about it, but as I sort of hinted before, Iris was scared about going away and like not leaving anything behind, like any memory of her or anyone behind, and it's just something that scares her. She doesn't want to be like her mum, where she feels that she didn't leave anything behind, but Barry's obviously like, no, come on. You left this son who's now a crime-fighting speedster, and in Barry's case, she left the love of his life as well behind. The debut of Cisco's vibe suit with the fight with Gypsy was awesome. I really do. It's very comic accurate. It could be argued that it's a bit like flappy in areas, but I think they might fix that up as the episodes go along. They do that with the Flash suit, and I think they've done that with the Kid Flash suit this season as well. But was I the only one thinking during that fight when Gypsy and Vibe had that like Dragon Ball Z Kamehameha moment with their two blasts going up against each other? That's all I was thinking about when that was happening. Now, obviously, going into this episode, we knew Vibe and Gypsy would be having a fight across the multiverse, across a few different Earths. So we went to Earth 2, Earth 38, which was actually within Catco, which I thought was pretty nice. And some, like, lava planet. It was weird. Like, I don't know if that's, like, just a volcano on a Earth or something, or if one Earth is just all lava. It was weird. But just going to these different places was really cool to see. And it was also awesome to see Cisco win the fight as well when he uses the advice given to him from Julian earlier in the episode about how Gypsy's off the air for a couple of seconds after she jumps out of a breach. Now, I guess one of the big things coming from this episode going ahead in this season is in regard to HR's status on Earth 19, because Gypsy's gone back and is going to say to everyone there, yo, I killed HR, he's dead. I blew his head off and his body was all smushed, so I didn't bring it back. So that's probably what she's going to say. But it will be interesting to see if that stays put, because does this mean that HR is going to die now on Earth 1, or will he eventually be able to go back to Earth 19? So there's really only two choices there. He's either going to stay on Earth 1 for the rest of his life, which would obviously mean him dying there, or he's going to be able to go back to Earth 19 and Gypsy's going to come clean and say, no, okay, I didn't kill him, but yeah. I thought it was funny when Cisco got kiss dodged by Gypsy, but I'm sure Cisco will get some soon enough. He's had a tough luck with the ladies recently, or the whole time I guess on Flash, with Golden Glider and obviously Kendra. So maybe Gypsy might be his lucky lady. I really did like the moment between Cisco and HR when like Cisco shares to HR like the advice and knowledge he had received from the other versions of Harrison Wells in the past. It was just a really nice moment. I really like those moments on the show when it's just like two characters connecting like that. But the end credit scene in this episode was a eye-opener, I guess, with it getting revealed that Wally is most likely going to be the one to save Iris due to his speed progress. Like, I think Barry realizes that Wally's going to be faster than him. So this could link to the theory where, I think a lot of people have said this now, I've mentioned a couple of videos as well, where Wally may go so fast that he gets stuck in the Speed Force, and it might be him having to do this to get Savitar in there. But it is a bit too early to talk about this because it will probably get like rolled out further in the season, but I think this is one thing to think about going ahead. But this isn't necessarily saying that Wally's the one that's going to have to stop Savitar. It could be Cisco, but I think the one who's going to stop Savitar may be the one that quote-unquote dies. So, yeah, we're going to have to wait and see what happens. But overall, I thought this was a fun episode. Next episode, it's a filler episode, really, next episode. This episode, it's not a filler episode, this episode. This actually counted towards the season as a whole. Next episode is really a filler episode, apart from some Wally stuff, from what we know at least. But we will be seeing Gypsy again in episode 13, so obviously not next week, but the week after, which is actually part 1 of a 2-part Gorilla City storyline. So get hyped for that. Gypsy's coming back, so Cisco won't be without his quote-unquote girlfriend for long. But thanks for watching, guys. If you enjoyed the video, it'd be very much appreciated if you could leave a like on it. Let me know in the comment section below what was your favourite part of this episode. Do you think Cisco and Gypsy will be a couple going ahead? And do you think that Wally is going to be the one that's going to save Iris from Savitar? Or do you think it's going to be someone else? Let me know all of that in the comment section down below. And if you are new around here, make sure to subscribe. I'll catch you later, guys. Goodbye.